Hello friends, welcome to this new tutorial on And So It Eventually Happened by R.Parthasarathy. So let us first read the poem. And so it eventually happened by R.Parthasarathy. And so it eventually happened, a family reunion not heard of since grandfather died in 59 in March this year. Cousins arrived in Tiruchanur in overcrowded private buses, the dust of unlettered years, clouding instant recognition. Later, each one pulled, sitting cross-legged on the steps of the coal tree, familiar coconuts out of the fire of rice and pickle afternoons. Sundari, who had scurried up and down forbidden tamarind trees in her long skirt every morning with me, stood there that day, 40 years taller, her 3 daughters floating like safe planets near her. The poet R.Parthasarathy was born in the year 1934. He is an Indian poet of repute. He is also an editor, translator, and a critic. He is the author of Rough Passage, a long poem, his translation into modern English of 5th century Tamil epic The Tale of the Anklet has won many awards, among them the Indian National Academy of Letters Sahitya Academy Translation Prize in 1995. Structurally, a poem And So It Eventually Happened by R.Parthasarathy was constructed in a division of 6 stanzas, consisting 3 lines in each stanza. The poem is written in a blank verse. Now let us try to understand the contents of the poem. The very title itself, And So It Eventually Happened, it suggests us that the poet was expecting, and at the same time he was wishing for the family reunion. In the first stanza, the poem opens as, And so it eventually happened, a family reunion. So the poet or the speaker was expecting that a family reunion will happen. It seems that the poet's family did not live together. They lived separately. They have not met each other and have not heard of each other since grandfather died in 1959. The family's grandfather died in the year 1959. And after that, perhaps they might have gone to their respected places, and they got separated. But after so many years, the family reunited in the month of March. The poet uses Jumpman in all the stanzas in the poem. For instance, in the first stanza, in March, it jumps to the second stanza, this year. Similarly, the last sentence of the second stanza, unlettered years, it jumps to the third stanza. As we all know, enjumpment is the continuation of a sentence without a pause beyond the end of a line. If we go on examining the other stanzas, we will find that the poet has uses enjumpment pattern to connect different stanzas with each other. In the second stanza, we can see that the cousins of the speaker arrived to their place, Tiruchanur, in overcrowded private buses, not in a public buses, but in a private buses. The poet remarked as the dust of unlettered years clouding instant recognition. So here we have an imagery of dust. As we all know, the dust here symbolizes poor vision. And a statement unlettered years means that the family members had not contacted each other and even had not made and conversed with each other for many years. We have another imagery in the third stanza. Clouding symbolizes a blurred memory. The family members had a tough time in recognizing each other because they have not met each other for years. Later on, the family members they gathered together. Each one of them they pulled and then sit cross-legged on the steps of the coal tree. Coal tree is a large village hall or a place of assembly. The family members gathered together in a big coal tree or a large community hall or a sitting hall, and they had family meals out of familiar coconuts, out of the fire, and of rice and pickle in the afternoons. In the fifth stanza, we have another character named Sundari, who perhaps might be one of the poet's cousins. We can see that Sundari is also one of the childhood friends of the speaker. The poet recalls or remembers his childhood days with Sundari. When Sundari and the poet used to climb or scurried up and down the forbidden tamarind trees, and during the time Sundari used to wear a long skirt. Perhaps the elders of the family forbade them to climb the tamarind trees for their safety, but Sundari and R.Parthasarathy, the poet, they used to climb up and down the forbidden tamarind trees every morning. In the sixth stanza, the poet says that his childhood friend Sundari stood there when the family reunion happened. So at the time when the family reunited, Sundari was 40 years taller. That means the family members reunited after 40 years. So if we ate 1959 when the grandfather died, and then if we ate 40 years to it, then it will be 1999. So in the last stanza, we have a clue that the family reunited after 40 years, perhaps in the year 1999. The first two words of the second stanza, this year, it connects stood there that day of the last stanza or the sixth stanza in the first line. Thus, when the family reunion happened in the year 1999, after 40 years of family's grandfather's death in 1959, Sundari was also there during the family reunion. And now Sundari also had three daughters. The poet compares the daughters of Sundari as safe planets, as if Sundari herself is a sun and her three daughters are like planets revolving around her. The poet epitomizes the family of Sundari to perfect family bonding. Sundari and her three daughters becomes a perfect replica of the unity and close relationship of the family members. As we all know, in India, we are fortunate to have a strong family bonds. However, all over the world today, family life is changing. People are moving out of their families for work. Many families are choosing to stay apart or separate due to factors like divergent lifestyles, divergent incomes, and conflicting views. These factors often affect the lives of those in the family and risk damaging the successful growth and development of future generations. Family reunions help people who have been separated for a while to come together. Each one comes together to take part in important family occasions and share joys and griefs. People walk down memory lane and try to recapture those emotions and feelings. So in this particular poem, and so it eventually happened, the poet expresses his deep attachment for his extended family. He writes of a family reunion and of all the different emotions running through each member of the family. Old memories are brought alive, and there is a sense of comfort in each other's presence due to shared experiences and time spent together in the past. So this is the concise tutorial on "And So It Eventually Happened" by R.Parthasarathy. I hope you all had enjoyed the video. If you liked the video, please don't forget to hit the like button and share your views in a comment box section. And if you are still new to this channel, then don't forget to hit the bell icon and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Enjoy learning.